So, today, we're diving into something huge, the Social Security Administration. It's supposed to be the bedrock of America's safety net, but some really drastic, recent changes have thrown the whole 90-year-old agency into turmoil, and the fallout, well, it's hitting millions of people. We're going to break down exactly what's going on, why it's happening, and what it all means for the folks who need it the most.
To really get a feel for what's at stake here, I want you to meet one person, Rebekah Walker. For 16 years, she got her monthly disability payments no problem. It was the foundation she and her 3 kids relied on. And this quote, well, it captures the exact moment that foundation just crumbled beneath her.
So, one day, Ms. Walker logs into her online account and gets hit with this bombshell. The agency is claiming she was overpaid by nearly $50,000. And not only that, they told her she had to pay it all back. And get this, until she could somehow prove them wrong, her monthly payments completely cut off. Gone.
Just think about that for a second. The money you absolutely count on to pay your rent, to take care of your family, it just vanishes. Ms. Walker's story is just this gut-wrenching look at the real-world immediate damage that happens when a system this important just breaks. And this timeline, wow, it really lays out the absolute nightmare she was suddenly thrown into. Her payment disappears, she goes to her local office for help and gets turned away, told the earliest appointment is 2 weeks out. And remember, we're talking about a mother of 3 with serious heart and lung conditions. This wasn't just a hassle, this was a full-blown financial crisis, instantly. And 3 months down the road, she was still fighting, with no answers in sight.
All right, so let's zoom out a bit here, because what happened to Miss Walker? That's not just a one-off. It's really the tip of the iceberg. It's a symptom of a much, much bigger crisis that's brewing inside the Social Security Administration itself, an agency that by all accounts has been pushed right to its breaking point.
The scale we're talking about here is just staggering. 74 million Americans. That's who relies on Social Security. We're talking retirees, survivors, people with disabilities. It's not just a government program. For so many, it is a lifeline.
But here's the kicker. This year alone, the agency's workforce was slashed by about 12%. And the field offices, the public-facing places you and I would actually go for help, they lost over 1,200 employees in just a handful of months. So what's behind all this? Well, according to our source material, these deep cuts are being driven by the new Department of Government Efficiency. You take an agency that's already chronically understaffed and you do this, it's like throwing gasoline on a fire, creating this incredibly tough situation for both the employees and the public they're trying to serve.
Okay, so we've seen the impact on the public, but what about the folks on the inside? How are the frontline workers, the people actually in the trenches dealing with this every single day, how are they holding up?
This quote, it just stops you in your tracks. It's from a technical expert who's been with the agency for 24 years. She says morale has never, ever been lower, and that it's gotten so bad that many of her colleagues are on anti-anxiety medication just to cope. And she makes it clear she is not alone in feeling that way.
And here you can see this classic disconnect playing out. On one hand, the agency is saying, hey, we've improved the national phone line and it's not hurting service in our local offices. But then you talk to the employee union and they're telling a completely different story. About 1,000 workers from those field offices have been pulled away to answer the national 800 number, and the union says that's what's breaking the system at the local level. And if you want a perfect real-world example of what that means, let's just circle back to Ms. Walker's office in Memphis. It lost 3 staffers because of the cuts. Then 4 more workers were reassigned to phone duty. And the result of all that? A 6-week wait for an appointment just to get a new Social Security card. It's simple math, really. Fewer people are being asked to do way more work, and that means massive delays for everyone else.
So, what's the big plan to fix all of this? Well, the new leadership has an answer. Technology. They're looking at this old, overburdened system and basically saying, we need a full-on tech reboot.
The new commissioner, Frank Bisignano, is pushing this digital-first strategy. It really boils down to 3 big moves. First, automate the easy stuff, like simple retirement claims. Second, digitize Social Security cards so you can get a replacement online. And third, centralize the whole system so any staffer anywhere in the country can handle any case. And they say to follow the money, and that's exactly what you see here. The agency is asking for a massive $600 million more for IT. But the budget for customer service payroll, for hiring and keeping actual people, that's staying flat for the 3rd year in a row.
But this big, hard pivot towards technology, it brings up a really, really critical question. In this whole drive for digital efficiency, who gets left behind? Who gets left in the dust?
And that's not just a hypothetical question. Researchers are already seeing it happen. The changes are making it even harder for the most vulnerable people to get the help they need. We're talking about people who don't have internet access, people who are homeless, or, frankly, anyone whose case is too complicated for a simple online form. The kind of case that needs a real person to sort out.
And the impact here, it's not abstract, it's brutal. A preliminary study on these changes is already finding what the lead researcher calls devastating consequences. People are experiencing hunger, they're getting evicted, they're losing their health care, all because they can't navigate a system that is failing them.
So it all kind of comes down to this, doesn't it? Look, nobody's saying that modernizing is a bad thing. It's probably long overdue. But as one of America's most essential institutions goes through this massive transformation, you just have to ask, can you really use a technological solution to fix what is, at its very core, a human problem? Or does a safety net, by its very definition, still need a human touch?